averages just under 18 points and just under 9 rebounds per game, shooting 60% from the field. And he does such a great job of moving, screening, and then getting into the post. Can step away. He commands a double team just about every play.
And Jordan Nwora, an equally talented player on the other side for Louisville.
Well, Jordan Nwora is 6'7". He can play inside and out. If he gets a mismatch, he goes down in the post. He's averaging about 21 points per game in ACC play, 44% from three-point range. He's the #1 three-point shooter in the ACC. And he had 32 points against Florida State. He is attracting all kinds of defensive attention. Sometimes they're putting little guys on him to try to get up underneath him. Other times they try to put length on him. But what happens is Jordan Nwora finds a way to score. Really the only game that he was substandard to his standards has been against Kentucky when Emmanuel quickly just shadowed him and face guarded him, wouldn't let him have the ball. I think you'll see something similar tonight. They're not going to help off of Jordan Nwora. Keep him from getting the ball and certainly keep him from getting it back if he gives it up.
Should be a great one here tonight. For more on this big matchup, down to the court, here's Holly Rowe.
That's right, Jay. That was the plan for guarding Nwora. So what's the plan for guarding Vernon Carey Jr.? Chris Mack, Louisville's coach, said, we've got to make everything difficult. He said, you will see us double him in the post. On the catch, they will leave a shooter at times for Duke and count on them getting down there to disrupt him. He said, even when he gets the dribble a little farther out under the basket, they have to be there to disrupt. He said, make everything difficult and be physical. And then the most important thing, ball pressure. Catches have to be hard for that Duke big man. We'll see if Louisville can execute that game plan tonight.
The last time Louisville beat a top 3 team, 2016. The last time they did it on the road, 2010. We are ready for the tip of our Sonic blockbuster. Ron Gruber, Jamie Luckey, John Gaffney, the officials, and we're underway here at Cameron. Again, Duke lost at Clemson on Tuesday night. They have one more player tonight than they did then. Joey Baker is back. They're still without Wendell Moore, as you see the starting 5 for the Blue Devils. For Louisville, they come in like Duke, 5-1 in conference play. Nwora rejected by Carey.
Boy, Jordan Nwora was taking the ball down floor and just got crashed into as he was trying to take it to the basket.
And Matthew Hurt, the 6'9 freshman from Rochester, Minnesota, with the first bucket of the night.
Well, Matthew Hurt needed that one. Last couple games, he's only had 7 points and 16 minutes per game. Cassius Stanley starting out the ball game. He's on Jordan Nwora. That's a super athletic freshman guarding Jordan Nwora.
Stephen Enoch inside, left it a little bit short, and it's out of bounds to Duke.
So as Jordan Nwora was bringing the ball down the left side of the floor, he absorbed a really big bump from Cassius Stanley. That knocked him off balance, and then you saw Vernon Carey come over and block that shot with his right hand, even though he's a left-hander.
Darius Perry guarding Cassius Stanley. Ray Jones, who's having a terrific year, can't get the shot up, gets tied up, and it'll be a held ball with the possession arrow giving it to Louisville.
Go down a lot of times with a great scorer. You want to go at him when he's defending. And Jordan Nwora is guarding Jordan Goldwire, who's not a great offensive player, more of a great defensive player.
And interesting, you mentioned that it's Stanley on Nwora. Duke is keeping Matthew Hurt away from Nwora right now, putting him on Dwayne Sutton. Hurt had a tough time with Tevin Mack Tuesday in Clemson.
Well, anybody would have a tough time on Jordan Nwora. He's that good of a scorer, but they're going right at Hurt right there with Sutton putting the ball on the floor and then just a pocket pass to Stephen Enoch.
Dwayne Sutton, as we talk about every time we do a Louisville game, does just about everything you could ask for the Louisville Cardinals.
He is a warrior. One of the best rebounders not only in the ACC but in the country.
Especially for a guy his size, 6'5". He just switched on to Trey Jones. Cassius Stanley averaging 16 points per game his last 4. He gets tied up again. And another held ball. This time the arrow gives it to Duke.
Louisville is not just going for position. They are going after the ball. When they see the ball, they are grabbing it and trying to take it away. They're not swiping at it. They're going to grab it. It's a really good job there by Darius Perry to knock that ball away from Cassius Stanley.
Shot clock did not reset, of course. 7 on the clock as the Blue Devils inbound. Goldwire. Pull-up jumper. Got it. And how good has Jordan Goldwire been recently for Duke? He's averaging 32 minutes per game, Jay, in his last 4 games, defending, distributing, and now starting to make shots as well.
Well, he's hit his last 3 of his last 5 from three-point range, which is a vast improvement for Jordan Goldwire. That was a tough shot at the end of the clock.
And now he's right in the grill of Darius Perry. Knocked away by Vernon Carey. Duke ball.
Chris Mack wanted the foul, reaching over the top.
They'll get a travel call on Trey Jones.
Jordan Goldwire has always been an outstanding defender. His offense was behind, but he's really worked on that shot. His mechanics so much better. And he went straight up and down, hit his plant foot, and just went straight up and knocked that in.
Fresh Kimball, the grad transfer from St. Joe's, moved into the starting lineup 5 games ago. Enoch will step out and knock down the odd three. The big guy, Stephen Enoch, brings Louisville back into a tie.
Well, he needs to get going. Transferred in from UConn. They need offense from him. Last couple games, only 5 points per game and 4 rebounds. 4 of his last 14. So that was a big shot for Stephen Enoch.
Last time these two programs met in Louisville last year, Cardinals led by 23 midway through the second half, and Duke came back and won it. Numbers now for Louisville, and Worrell will slam it home, the assist to Kimball.
Well, they got the ball inside to Vernon Carey. Single coverage, no double team coming. And Vernon Carey showed the ball, didn't protect it, and Enoch just got a piece of it.
So the Cardinals take their first lead. Tough mid-range jumper there for Jones. Wara had his hand on the rebound, out of bounds to Duke.
Watch when the ball goes inside to Vernon Carey. There is no double team that comes from anywhere. That's single coverage. And as he turns into the middle, Enoch was able to knock it away. That started a 3-on-1. And the leading scorer in the ACC, Jordan Wara, gets an easy one as a result.
Wara just over 20 points per game on the season. Had 32 a couple of weeks ago when a loss to Florida State, which, by the way, the Seminoles outlasted Miami in overtime today. So they are now 6-1 in league play. These two teams are each 5-1. Jack White in off the bench for Duke, has to force it up. And the rebound to Enoch.
A lot of dribbling for Duke, not as much movement and passing in their offense.
Carey, little hesitation move, tough one. Won't go down, and it's saved by Stanley.
This is not a great scoring lineup. Delorier came in for Carey. Give the freshman big guy a little bit of a rest.
Goldwire again with a war on him. Delorier, who's made 17 of his last 20 shots, but that's a span of 10 games. And yet another held ball. Boy, good hands by Louisville in the early going, and they've got an early 2-point lead.
They are going after the ball.
Good physical defense by Louisville in the opening minutes of this game, Jay.
Well, Louisville came out strong defensively. They are going after the ball. Every drive, every time you show the ball, if you're not protecting it, getting it on your hip, Louisville has been taking the ball away. They had single coverage on Vernon Carey in the post, didn't come with the double B. It's Stephen Enoch knocks it away. Drive in, a spin, Darius Perry comes over and just takes the ball away from Javin Delorier. Thus far in the game, and it's still early, Louisville has been the stronger team.
Let's go down to Holly Rowe.
Guys, it's been so physical. 3 tie-ups already in this game, but even so, Jordan Wara, the best player for Louisville, he had to be treated on the sideline just now for a bloody mouth and nose. He has been in there mixing it up. Very physical start.
All right, Holly, thank you. But again, so much on the line. The winner of this game will move into a tie for the conference lead with Florida State. All kinds of crazy games around the country today. I don't even know if we can call anything an upset anymore this year, Jay, the way things have gone.
Yeah, it's been crazy and a lot of fun. It's going to continue to be a lot of fun.
In the ACC, some interesting games as both coaches go to their benches again. Pitt beat North Carolina again for the second time. The Tar Heels dropped to 1-5 in league play. Syracuse got another road win in conference, holding off Virginia Tech, winning by 2, and NC State defeated Clemson. Jones leaning in, forced it up, didn't get it. White there. Shot clock didn't reset, didn't hit the rim. Stanley getting to the rim and getting fouled on his way in.
Boy, you had better be strong with the ball. When Trey Jones drove in, there was a ton of body contact. And then Cassius Stanley, the freshman from Los Angeles, is a human highlight film. After last year with Zion Williamson, setting a vertical leap record here, I think it was 45 inches. Cassius Stanley came in the next year and set a new one at 46 inches.
Crazy, huh?
It's unbelievable.
Like, that's just one jump.
Yeah.
That's not like a 2 out of 3.
How many you want?
Together.
Yeah, how many you want?
Delorier out and Carey back in. And a good foul there by Enoch. I mean, the last thing you want to have is this whole building go nuts after an early dunk.
Well, one area where I think Duke needs to improve is the free throw line. In ACC games, they're shooting a shade under 60% as a team. And Vernon Carey shooting under 60%. He's going to get an awful lot of free throw attempts with his style of play.
Malik Williams in for Louisville. For Enoch, the roller is Sutton, and that's a goaltending call on Jack White.
Dwayne Sutton is such a good cutter. Well, you really have to jump to the ball and get in front. That was just a simple slip, and Jack White got on top of Dwayne Sutton. Anytime you get above your man, you're done, because Dwayne Sutton is such a smart player. He's just going to cut to the basket and slip that.
And we'd like to welcome those of you who saw Kentucky defeat Arkansas tonight. Welcome to Cameron Indoor Stadium here in Durham. Dan Schulman, Jay Billis, Holly Rowe, and a big one and a good start for Louisville. Getting a dunk in transition is the freshman David Johnson, and the Cardinals off to an early 5-point lead, Jay.
Well, they're doing it all with defense. Louisville's defense has been excellent. They're taking the ball away from Duke. The last post pass, it was not a good one, taken away and knocked away by Malik Williams, who's an excellent defender. Williams, one of the best big guy defenders in the country.
Vernon Carey spinning, lost the handle. Louisville ball.
Well, Louisville has taken Duke out of everything it wants to do on the offensive end. There's the pass, just a floater from Cassius Stanley, knocked away by Williams because he broke contact and was able to knock it away with that left hand, and David Johnson finishes. Johnson is going to be a big factor not only this game but the rest of the season. He is healthy now, and he is able to come in off the bench, run the point, just dynamic, athletic, and can really see plays. Great backdoor.
How about that feed from Ryan McMahon to the cutting David Johnson, and the lead grows for Louisville.
Just a simple cut by David Johnson off of a post screen, and then he empties out to what they would call the one side. There's nobody else there. You dribble at him, he goes backdoor. Great pressure release.
Duke has committed 6 turnovers already in the game to only 2 made baskets.
All right, take a look at this right here. You're going to see David Johnson. He's going to go back out to the wing, and when he does, there's going to be a dribble at. So dribble at him, and he immediately goes backdoor, and he went backdoor on a great defender in Trey Jones. That's a big-time play, and you know that Chris Mack has wanted that for a pressure release all game long.
How about that defense? David Johnson takes the ball away and then fires about a 40-foot pass to Dwayne Sutton, and it's the Cardinals doing some early celebrating here at Cameron.
They have just been tougher. Louisville has been magnificent on defense. They've done a great job of just going after the ball, knocking it away, tying it up. And they've just been the tougher basketball team. Duke's got to be stronger with the ball and get better movement on offense. They've been a little bit stagnant. To give Louisville all the credit for that. Knocked it away again.
Yeah. Go inside to Carey. Usually works for Duke, but it didn't this time.
A terrific dig by David Johnson.
Look at Wara moving without the ball, getting the cut, missing the layup, but Malik Williams follows it up for a deuce.
Louisville is just quicker to the ball. They're quicker to the cut, and Duke is reacting instead of dictating on either end of the floor.
Jones gets inside. Floater won't go. Johnson. Look at
what a strength. That kid is legit. Last 4 games, he's starting to play more. He is so gifted, and he can see plays developing. His vision, his understanding of the game is really good for a young player.
Had left shoulder surgery back in July. Missed the first 4 games of the season, but loads of upside in getting more minutes game by game. Matthew Hurt with a much-needed bucket for Duke, and it's a 3.
Hurt gets that shot off so quickly. It goes from the catch to the shooting pocket and up into a shot so quickly. He doesn't really take a jump shot. It's more of a set shot. Beautiful cut.
And another great look, and it's Johnson again. What a start he's had tonight.
Just cut right off the ball and peeled off his defender on that little rub. And there's no help side at all. Middle of the floor, help is eliminated.
Alex O'Connell into the game, misses the 3, and Carey called for going over the back. What a start for the Cardinals. Again, trying to wash away the memory of a crushing defeat that they suffered in Louisville against Duke last year. It was a sonic blockbuster a year ago between these two teams out of the Yum Center in Louisville, and it was all Cardinals for the first 30 minutes. They were up 23 points with less than 10 minutes to go, and then it all came apart. Lots of turnovers for Louisville. Reddish started making shots. Barrett started getting to the rim. Reddish hit another one. He had a big game. A couple of free throws late for Cam Reddish to give Duke the lead, and then a missed jumper right at the end of regulation. A crushing blow for Louisville. Chris Mack even talking about it yesterday during their practice as Duke came back, and Louisville never really recovered. They had a narrow win over Clemson right after this game, Jay, but then after that, they lost 5 of their last 7 to end their season.
No, they had a great season, but that was a devastating blow and really difficult mentally to recover from. And don't think they don't remember that coming into this building. They do.
You know what? They didn't have that guy last year, and what an incredible first few minutes in the game for David Johnson. Let's get a little bit more on last year's game. Here's Holly again.
Well, guys, that loss to Duke was so painful last year, and the way they finished that season, that it bred the team motto for this year, which is finish. And they are so proud of the way they are finishing games lately. A 3-point win at Notre Dame, a 5-point win in overtime at Pitt in their last game. This team feels like they are finally learning how to finish, and that all started with that painful loss to Duke last year.
Yeah, they survived those games. But Louisville's capable of much better than they played in the last few, and they are showing it right here. This has been a clinic. I mean, it's 20-0 in the paint in this ball game. I mean, they have dominated the paint, getting the ball to the rim on just about every occasion at will on the offensive end.
And we have an official review on the last foul call. We are trying to get clarification on what exactly it is that the officials are looking at right now. There was a foul called on Louisville right there as Carey got knocked down. And what it is was the foul committed before or after Trey Jones began his shooting motion. And the ruling is it was committed before, so Jones will inbound the ball. Malik Williams getting called for the foul. Duke with just 9 points in almost 9 minutes of action for a team that averages 83 points per game.
A screen for Catcher Stanley. They almost have a lob there. Pretty good pressure on the ball to take it away.
Ryan McMahon, the 50-year senior, guarding Stanley right now. Boy, good defense there by Johnson, staying in front of Jones.
Johnson's an athlete and really long arm.
Good D by Williams, but he gets called for the foul. You can see him complaining right away, saying, my arms were straight up. What did I do?
He thrust his chest into him is what he did. And look, that hasn't been called all year. That's one of the problems in officiating now. But watch how he throws his chest into him. That's a foul. Now, the fact that it hasn't been called in certain games, you know, certainly Malik Williams has got a consistency issue there and say, hey, wait a minute, you haven't been calling this consistently. But that is a foul under any definition. It should be called on both ends in every game.
Number 2 on Williams, so he'll sit down, and Stephen Enoch back into the game. This is the two-headed monster that Chris Mack has at his disposal at the 5 spot. 2 very different players with 2 good players.
Yeah, Enoch the better offensive player, Williams the better defensive player.
And Carey, as we mentioned off the top of the show, one of the leading contenders for ACC Player of the Year. And in the conversation, you would imagine potentially for National Player of the Year. You could say the same about Jordan Ware of Louisville, who's on the bench right now. Here are the numbers for Vernon Carey Jr., just having a tremendous season. Great effort there on the lob, but Enoch unable to get it to go down.
Just a terrific job of a screen roll and a hard roll.
Ball's loose. Samuel Williamson, freshman for Louisville, comes up with it, and he'll go in and jam it.
Well, Louisville is just stronger going after the ball. Like, that was a 50-50 ball, and they're getting all of those in this game.
Stanley on the drive, tipped away by McMahon. Another turnover, more transition for Louisville, and it'll be an offensive foul called on Dwayne Sutton, who didn't like the call one bit, as you can see. Trey Jones stepping in to draw the charge. So a real challenge here in the early going for the Blue Devils. They are down 15 on their home court at the midway point of the first half.
Louisville, for the most part, packing it in. They're not overextending. Look how much help there is surrounding Vernon Carey, making him flip it over the top.
Rebounded by Sutton, averaging about 9 rebounds per game.
Sutton's a big-time rebounder.
And again, he's 6'5".
Goes after every ball, averaging about 3 offensive rebounds a game, too.
Johnson didn't see Jones sneaking up from behind.
Well, that's just playing with the ball a little bit too much. Jones, one of the best on-ball defenders in the country.
Jones for 3. Well short, and it's Louisville ball. Our big Monday matchup this week comes to you from Waco, Oklahoma, taking on the second-ranked team of the nation, the Baylor Bears. You can see it at 9 o'clock Eastern Time on ESPN and the ESPN app. Baylor got a scare today in Stillwater, but hung on for the win. Everybody got a scare today. Some teams got more than a scare today. Auburn got blown out at Florida. Butler lost at DePaul. 5 of the top 10 teams in the rankings, Jay, have lost this week. 2 of them have lost twice this week.
Yeah, Auburn, a couple of big losses, really, double-digit losses. But you're going to get challenged on the road. I mean, I wouldn't refer to what happened so much with Baylor as a scare, but when they got challenged at Oklahoma State, they kept their poise. They wound up winning the ball game. Any road game you get, especially in the Big 12, that's a good job. And I really like Baylor's team. They're legit.
They're ranked second. Duke is ranked third, but remember they lost to Clemson earlier this week. Stanley draws the foul on the drive. Cassius Stanley has been driving more, playing more aggressively. All the numbers are going up for Stanley in recent games.
Well, he's a freak athlete, and he can break down the defense. He can also rise up with a mid-range shot. But his last 4 games, to your point, he's averaging 18 points a game. And coming into this one in the last 4, 24 of his last 38 from the field. That's pretty efficient.
One of the issues that Duke had at Clemson was Stanley was in foul trouble and missed a pretty good chunk of time in the second half. Hurt out, White in for Duke, Kimball out, Perry in for Louisville. Chris Mack has adjusted his rotation, Jay, in the backcourt in the last few games.
Mostly because of David Johnson being healthy. So now he can move Darius Perry off the ball where he can be more of a 2-guard, still with point guard skills. But now fresh Kimball and Johnson are taking care of the point. That's really been sort of the biggest issue, you could say, for Louisville is solidifying the point guard position because they've got basically everything else.
Louisville's up 25-12, and their All-America candidate, Jordan Wara, has only 2 points in this game. That speaks to how well the rest of the Cardinals are playing.
Well, they've done it defensively. And Samuel Williamson, the freshman, has been playing much better of late because he's defending better. He hasn't been scoring, but he was able to drop that pass off the Wara on the back cut, and they picked up the foul on Stanley.
And with Joey Baker on a nice bounce pass into Enoch. Can't get it to go.
Oh, how physical was that?
The State's running the floor. Delorier flying down the court, and Enoch staying right with him.
Both those guys are really good athletes. Like Delorier, when he slipped that, when he ball screen and roll, he needs to go down into the post and be a threat.
And yet another Duke turnover, 10 of them. 10 turnovers in less than 12 minutes of action.
Louisville is just seeing the ball so well, and as passes are being made, they're moving as the ball moves. You know, they play a pack line defense, and it's similar in theory to what Virginia does, but they're not as worried about transition. So Louisville will go to the offensive glass where Virginia doesn't. They want to get back and take you out of transition. Louisville's a little more likely to go after the offensive glass, and they'll race you back. But they do such a great job of pressuring the ball, and then their positioning is basically their help.
Solid defensive numbers, as you saw there for the Cardinals. Chris Mack in his second year as the head coach at Louisville after a very successful stint with Xavier. McMahon got caught in the air, turns it over. Jones has help. Baker for 3. Stanley the rebound.
And how about Joey Baker running to the three-point line? In transition, used to run to the rim, now you run to the three-point line. Long shot, long rebound, and that's where Cassius Stanley was alert.
And the loudest this building has been since the opening intros. Perry turns the corner, has it knocked away. Look out, Stanley comes up with the ball, and then he and Perry get tangled up, and now Perry and Baker getting in each other's face. And of all people, the freshman Williamson comes in to separate them.
There's going to be a look at a replay here. There was a lot going on. Standing over a player, the player gets up. Face to face, nose to nose. This one's got some intensity, doesn't it?
Well, it looked innocent enough at the beginning. It got a little bit heated, though, in the last segment before that timeout between Louisville and Duke. Cassius Stanley jumping up to get the ball, has to come down, straddling over Perry as Perry is lying on the court. Perry took offense. Joey Baker came in and took offense to Perry taking offense. And the end result is Darius Perry and Joey Baker have each been assessed technical fouls. No free throws, offsetting, and the technicals do count as personals.
And that's the right, I think that's the right result. You know, I guess you could have called a foul here on Perry because he wasn't in legal guarding position, 2 feet on the floor facing the ball handler, but it was just a bizarre thing. I mean, if Cassius Stanley had the ball, he's allowed to, what's he going to do? Like, he can't really move, he's got the ball, he can walk if he moved, and you can't tell Darius Perry he can't get up. Maybe he added a little more into it, but I think that's ultimately the right result.
Yep. 11-point lead, Louisville, 7:10 to go here in the first half. Baker, very good shooter from beyond the arc, spins and misses the layup, and Awara comes down for the rebound, and Baker called for the foul, so that'll be his second, because remember the technical that he just picked up counts as a personal as well.
Duke ran a little horn set with 2 guys on the elbows, 2 guys in the corner, and they faded off the top. When Joey Baker got the ball, he drove in and spun. I don't think he realized how open he was. He could have gone right to the rim off that. Instead, he sort of faded away.
And Baker's got to come out of the game. With the ball right now for Louisville, a guy we've been talking about, David Johnson, a freshman from Trinity High in Louisville, won a state title last year, and he has been great from the moment he entered the game. And look at that kick to Perry in the corner for 3. And Perry looking back at the camera, and Crazy's on his way back down the court.
How about that find by David Johnson? He is a next-level passer. Great vision.
Meanwhile, it is so noisy in this place, as it always is. If you want to call out some plays, you can't yell them. You got to write them on the whiteboard.
Well, it might just be that was Mike Peguese's favorite team, the Spurs. A lot of teams will do that, but what a great play by David Johnson, finding Darius Perry on the other side of the floor. Johnson adds such a great dimension to this team. If Louisville had him all season long, I mean, he missed about 3 or 4 months with that shoulder during the summer, basically missed the entire summer.
And remember, this Louisville team was ranked by many preseason. I think they came into the season ranked 2nd, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, right up at the top.
Right? And they're one of the many programs that ascended to number 1. They're number 11 right now. They've got 3 losses. But there is loads of talent on this Louisville team.
And depth. They've got everything they need. And now with David Johnson coming in to help solidify the point, makes him even better. Oh, good pass.
Wanted to walk on Awara. And an offensive foul call eventually on Awara.
Gaffney saying that Awara grabbed with his off arm as he was dribbling in. If that went against Jordan Awara, that's not a good call. He didn't grab anybody. What's he going to do? Like tuck his arm into his shorts?
First foul on Awara. White had some really good minutes for Duke in the loss at Clemson on Tuesday night. He has started to shoot the ball better. Remember, he had that long slump shooting last year.
He's over 28.
But he's now shooting at a better rate this year, and he's still doing all the other Jack White things that he brings to the table.
The last couple games, Jack White's averaging 10 points and 5.5 rebounds. And he's hit 4 of his last 6 from 3 coming into this game.
Jones can't get it to Perry. Now Stanley for 3.
Wow. That's a heck of a shot by Cassius Stanley. He got that up quick. He was ready to shoot when the ball got into his hands. And man, if you press up on him, he's so athletic, he can go by you in a heartbeat.
Malik Williams thought about the three, steps in, takes the 15-footer, too strong, and Wara with a silly foul. Number 2 on the best player that Louisville has. They didn't need that right now. Now Chris Mack has got to make a decision.
Yeah, there was no reason for Jordan Wara. There was no way he was going to get that ball. And he's telling Chris Mack, I'll be fine, I'll be fine. But that ball was coming right to Cassius Stanley. He went after it with one hand. And you like the fact that he's aggressive, but you have to be smart in that instance.
Now this is potentially one of these markdown time and score moments. 5:35 to go. Louisville by 9. Wara pleading his case to stay in the game, but he's going to lose the argument. Samuel Williamson, you can see, is sitting at the score sheet.
Well, Cassius Stanley's done a really good job on Jordan Wara. Hasn't let him get the ball with his athleticism. And we talked about a little bit earlier, oftentimes when you put a smaller player on Jordan Wara, you can get up underneath him a little bit and be a little bit more disruptive than if you match him size for size.
Wara's a terrific player, but that's just one he wishes he could have back. Whether it was frustration because of the prior foul that was called on him, who knows, but that's potentially a big blow for Louisville here in the last 5 minutes and change of the first half.
Louisville is not running any offense right now. He didn't make a pass on that play. Johnson took it on his own.
Perry, money in there.
Chris Mack's going to want a timeout here. Well, Duke has really hung in there and done it defensively. And give a ton of credit to Cassius Stanley and the way he has performed at both ends of the floor.
9-0 run, Blue Devils. And when they really need a bucket, Jay, play number 1 of the Duke playbook this year usually is get the ball into Vernon Carey Jr.
So sets a little screen up top, and then he can get into the low post from the high post. And you really have to jump to the ball there. Malik Williams did not do quite as good a job of that, so he couldn't deny him the ball. The left-hander just off the glass and got it to go. And maybe that'll get Vernon Carey going a little bit.
Got the crazies going, that's for sure. Coming up tonight, 8:30 Eastern Time on ABC and the ESPN app. How about this matchup out of the NBA? LeBron and the Lakers, the Beard and the Rockets in our NBA Saturday primetime matchup.
I cannot believe that LeBron is like, what, 35, 36 years old? It's amazing.
17th year in the NBA. And look at the numbers, 25, 8, and 11 roughly. And, oh yeah, James Harden, 37 points per game.
Louisville needs to run some offense here. So much of what they've had has come off their defense. And they're going to have to run good half-court offense in order to win this game.
And they're going to have to do it without Jordan Wara for the next while. Sutton the kick. Perry. Johnson for 3, and the freshman does it again.
Much better. The ball moved from side to side. Once they got into the paint, kicked it out, drove, and then kicked it to an open shooter. Very effective execution out of the timeout.
Handoff from White to Jones, and he's fouled.
Now take a look at the initial drive. Initial drive by Sutton. He kicks it, and then another drive into basically 2 paint touches in a row in order to get it to David Johnson, who is ready to shoot when the ball arrived. That was much better offense out of the timeout than Louisville had ran the last several times down when they've had half-court offense.
Johnson tonight, Jay, 6 of 7 from the floor, 13 points, 3 assists already for a guy who's a freshman, as we mentioned, playing in this environment for the first time.
Where would they be without the performance of David Johnson? He came in after the Pitt game. He had 11 points, 4 assists in that one. He's got such great bounce, super athletic, length. And David Johnson's grandfather is a security guard at the Yum Center.
So he gets to watch
him all the time.
That's pretty cool. Out of bounds, back to Duke. One
of the issues for Louisville is when Jordan Wara is not scoring, what players are going to step forward. They've got to get consistent production from other players.
How about this? Over the top to Stanley, and Johnson came down and credited with a block.
Well, it looked like he got hit, but a great play. That was just a simple post out of the corner.
Well, about the only thing that David Johnson hadn't yet done in this game is block a shot, and he just went up there against one of the best athletes in college basketball and disrupted the Stanley dunk attempt. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by the Car Hop Classic, only at Sonic. Here at Duke, the first stop of this season for College Game Day. And a great show, a great crowd, great atmosphere as always for the morning show today. And you'll hear more about it on the Jeep halftime report coming up just a few minutes from now. Also reports from Houston, Lakers and Rockets, Las Vegas, UFC 246. John Calipari got tossed in the Kentucky game a little bit earlier tonight. Speaking of the halftime show, LaFonso Ellis and Seth Greenberg standing by with Holly Rowe.
All right, LaFonso, it's your first game day at Duke. What did you think so far?
It was absolutely awesome. I had the privilege of playing it here when I was in college, so a lot of memories. And this crowd is as electric as it was when I was in school.
All right, Seth, what's the story of this game so far in your mind?
David Johnson, he's been absolutely terrific. His size, and he's given Louisville a toughness that I think Chris Mack's been looking for. He's been terrific.
All right, you'll see these guys at the half.
All right, thank you, Holly. Guys, looking forward to it. Reese Davis, of course, will anchor the halftime show. Do you think, Jay, as long as Louisville is leading, playing well, that Chris Mack is going to try to leave Jordan Nwora on the bench for the rest of the first half?
Yeah, probably. I don't know that he has a policy when you get 2 fouls, you get taken out for the rest of the half, because I think you wind up, if you do that, you wind up playing the best defense you can on your best player by keeping him on the bench. But I don't think there's any reason if they can continue to play well. The question is mismatches. I mean, the last time down when Duke had the ball, they went right to Cassius Stanley. They ran a little horn set, Stanley in the corner, and they got the ball into the high post, just played high-low. He came in and posted Ryan McMahon. And that's an advantage for Duke. So I think you're going to see both coaches go at whatever mismatch they may have.
Blake Williams, a junior from Fort Wayne, Indiana, is at the line for Louisville. We've talked a lot about Johnson, the freshman, and how well he's played tonight. But other than him and Williamson, this is a very old team. And old in a good way. 3 fifth-year seniors, a grad transfer, a couple of juniors, a lot of experience for Louisville.
Darius Perry has gone out on Cassius Stanley. That's a little more athletic matchup on him.
Perry over Williams, and the follow for Hurt.
Well, how about Matthew Hurt? That was with the left hand. And nobody put a body on him. They just decided they're going to jump for the rebound. And Hurt jumped higher. What a play.
Perry off the screen, Stanley giving chase. Perry. Tipped up, but no good for Williams, and right down to the board for Duke.
Duke icing that side ball screen, keeping it to the left side, not getting it back to the other side.
White steps into a three, not there. And tipped down to Louisville. 2:50 to go, first half. Cardinals have led most of the way. Johnson sees a hole, nice kick. Perry passed up the three, though. Now he's in trouble. Good cut by Williamson, and he's got it blocked. No, a foul call going on Jack White.
And Louisville has not been able to get much at all the last 10-12 minutes in transition. It's all been in the half court. See Matthew Hurt right here. He's going to come all the way from the perimeter, and nobody even turns. And he goes right over a great rebounder in Dwayne Sutton, because nobody turned to box out. They all wanted to jump for that rebound. Just a terrific job by Matthew Hurt.
Subs now for Duke. DeLaurier, Baker back in. Carey and White come out. That was the second foul on White.
Samuel Williamson really bailed out Darius Perry on the baseline with that cut.
1 of 2.
Williamson's a talented young player. He hasn't been playing as much of late because of defense, but his defense is starting to improve.
Baseline drive, Stanley. And scores over Malik Williams.
Went right into his chest and still kept his eyes on the rim. Cassius Stanley is having a great game at both ends.
Duke's got 27, Jay. He's got 12 of them.
He has played outstanding defense. One when he's been on Jordan Moore, but just overall, he's been a big factor on the offensive end.
Johnson. Williams. Here comes the help. And Williams still scores.
He kept poise in the post when he could have traveled. That was a terrific job. Couldn't even drop step because he picked up his dribble already.
That was your poise in the post back in the day.
Well, I never got the ball.
You can have poise without the ball. Because nobody notices.
I had a lot of poise. I was poisoned in the post.
Stanley with Perry on him now. Jones. Still plenty of time. Can't get the shot on. Stanley's got to make something happen. And out to Johnson. Boy, is he in attack mode tonight. And he draws the foul. It'll be on Joey Baker.
I think that was the right call. It was just a late call. Most people don't like late calls. I don't like them either, but I think I'd rather have the call late till you wait and see what happened. They caught him with the body. And Joey Baker was never in legal guarding position there, and he hit him with his body. That is a foul. That was a good call.
And you made the point earlier tonight, and we talked about it during the Memphis game a couple of nights ago as well that we did. Players are being coached constantly now. Keep your arms straight up in the air. But oftentimes they're doing that, but there is still contact down below that you feel is a foul.
Well, that was clearly a foul.
Yeah.
But what I was talking about is I'm seeing practices all over the country where coaches are teaching their players, foul the player with your chest. Go in with your arms up and throw your chest into the offensive player. And they're doing that because the officials aren't calling this. And so it's just smart by the coaches to do it. And until the officials start calling it, we're going to see more and more of that. But that's a foul, always has been a foul. And it's just a question of whether it gets called.
That's the third on Baker. He has gone to the bench. Goldwire back in for the Blue Devils. Hurt behind the back. Hurt driving. Knocked out of bounds. Duke ball. And now the Crazies are not happy with the whistle lately. So they wanted a foul call on Louisville on that play.
And Matthew Hurt doesn't really take a jump shot where he reaches a high apex on the jump. He gets it off a little like Larry Bird used to.
Reaching foul on Williamson. You mean high above his head?
High above his head, yeah. But he, on his jump shot, he might only be a couple inches off the ground, but he gets it off so quickly. Now watch Larry Bird. You call that a jump shot? How high did he jump? And same thing for Matthew Hurt. He barely gets off the ground, but he shoots it so quickly it's hard for defenders to recover from. I mean, I think it's very, very similar the way these two shoot the ball. Now I'm not saying they're the same player. That's not. It's just they shoot the ball similarly.
Stanley at the line. And he's keeping Duke in it right now.
He's really blossoming as a player. Not that he hasn't played well throughout the year. He has. But he's turning into a star caliber performer. With that athleticism and the fact that he's a two-way player, he plays at both ends of the floor.
Boy, are they getting out on Ryan McMahon in a hurry. Of course, everybody knows the scouting report on the fifth-year senior from Sarasota. You can't give him any space. Because if he gets that shot off, there's a pretty good chance it's going in.
He has to be forced to drive, McMahon. And when he's forced to drive, you have to force him to finish. So you don't want to help off on him and let him pass it. Make him finish a tough two.
Johnson, the story for Louisville in the first half, and it continues.
He's just longer and bigger than Trey. Shoots it on the way up, but he's just got a beautiful stroke.
Louisville can hold for the final shot of the half. They were up 9 when Wara went to the bench with his second foul with about 5.5 minutes to go, so they have weathered that storm.
Johnson wants to take this on his own. They're going to double team.
Force it out of his hands. Williams for 3. Johnson the assist, and the Cardinals will take a 10-point lead into halftime here at Cameron.
Just the 4th three-pointer on the year for Malik Williams. He was known for that coming in, but has not shot the ball well. Really great shot and great pass by Johnson out of the double.
And what a good 20 minutes for Louisville here in hostile territory. Chris Mack is with Holly Rowe.
Well, Coach, you went to the bench early and brought David Johnson in. Why did you know that he was going to make this kind of an impact?
Because he's a really good player, Holly. I mean, obviously, being out 4 months with a torn labrum set him back. But, you know, we're starting to see in practice what he's capable of, and I think, you know, everybody else is seeing that too.
You guys have been able to contain Vernon Carey, but Cassius Stanley started to hurt you. Do you make a change there, or do you live with what he's doing?
Well, I mean, he's got both of our big guys with 2 fouls each, so we have to be really, really, you know, careful how we're playing him. We got to get a little help from the other perimeter players when he catches it. And we got to be able to come out in the second half and continue to play the way we played in the first half. I mean, I can't see anybody blowing a lead against Duke, could you?
I guess it's not too soon to make a joke about what happened last year. Good for Chris Mack. They were up 23 in the second half a year ago, didn't win. They're up 10 at halftime here tonight. Reese Davis, Seth Greenberg, LaFonso Ellis with the Jeep halftime report after these messages. Welcome back to Saturday Primetime, presented by H&R Block. This is an ESPN Sonic Blockbuster. How about the first half for Louisville freshman David Johnson? Had a season-high 11 in Louisville's last game against Pitt. Had 17 in the first half. Here tonight, Cassius Stanley helping to keep Duke in it with 14 and 6 rebounds in the first half. But it's still Louisville with a 10-point lead here at halftime at Cameron Indoor Stadium. Welcome back to Durham, North Carolina. Louisville, Duke, Dan Schulman and Jay Billis. Intense, interesting first half.
Well, Louisville came out breathing fire. I mean, they forced 10 Duke turnovers in the first 8 minutes. Duke has not turned it over since. And Louisville shot 58% in that first half, made 4 of 4 from three-point range. Duke stayed in it on the free throw line, getting to the free throw line, and then Cassius Stanley was fantastic. Had 14 points, as you mentioned, and did a great job defensively on Jordan Wara, who only had 2 points to go along with 2 fouls in that first half. Vernon Carey only had 5 points in the first half, turned it over 4 times. How those 2 Player of the Year candidates perform in the second half is going to go a long way to determining who wins, and the first 4 minutes of the second half are going to go a long way as well.
That was tonight's Game Track, presented by Booking.com. Down to court level, here's Holly Rowe.
Assistant coach for Duke, John Shire, said they are trying to get Vernon Carey more touches and get him more involved, but that ball pressure and the disruption from Louisville is making it difficult. Louisville charts their deflections. They had 5 in the first half, so he said, we just have to be stronger with the ball. We've given them 15 points off of turnovers. That's the important thing we've got to do here in the second half.
All right, Holly, thank you. We are ready for the start of the second half of our Sonic Blockbuster. And Duke with the first possession of the half. Stanley in and out.
Duke ran a little ball screen action. Ball screen slip with Hurt, and a ball screen by Vernon Carey. And Cassius Stanley is such a good player. So Jack White on Jordan Wara.
White starting the second half in the place of Jordan Goldwire, who started the game. Enoch too strong. Rebound Carey. Jones one-on-one with Kimball. Gets by him and lays it in.
Well, Louisville a little casual getting back in transition. They had 4 guys back, but they weren't back sprinting to try to stop the ball.
First points of the night for Jones, who averages 15 a game.
Roll replace action. Take a look here at Duke in transition after the jump hook miss by Stephen Enoch. Not a lot of urgency to get back and protect the lane. And Trey Jones looked like a running back taking it through the line as he got all the way to the basket and laid it in off the glass. Just a great attack in transition by Trey Jones.
Wara, as you mentioned, only 2 points in the first half, yet Louisville still leads. And by the way, that foul on Vernon Carey Jr., just want to keep an eye on. That's number 3 on him. Stanley elevating again.
On the first half, Louisville dominated points in the paint. And in 2 possessions, Louisville's given up 2 layups. I guess the second one was a dunk, but you get the idea.
What'd you say, 46-inch vertical lead?
Yeah, that may be low.
Loose ball, Carey keeps the dribble alive and draws the foul.
There's Dwayne Sutton throwing his chest into Vernon Carey. The same thing we talked about before. Hands were up, fouled him with his chest. And Louisville giving up easy baskets in transition, easy opportunities in transition. And right now the momentum has been seized in the first couple minutes of this second half by Duke. You can just feel it.
And again, what's at stake? Each of these teams is 5-1. in ACC play. The Florida State Seminoles, who overcame a late deficit, won in overtime down in Coral Gables today against Miami. So Florida State will be tied with whoever wins this game. Syracuse sneaking up into the picture now. Got another road win today at Virginia Tech. NC State beat Clemson. So there's a three-way tie for fourth right now. The ACC, like every league in America, it seems, chaotic and hard to predict.
After the made free throw, Duke going 1-2-1-1, trapping and getting a turnover.
Bad play there by Perry. Pass deflected and stolen. Hurts. Stanley off the knee of Perry. Duke ball.
This looks like a complete reversal from the first half. Cassius Stanley quicker to the ball than Darius Perry and able to throw it off of Louisville to maintain possession.
A 6-0 run for Duke to start the second half. Tipped ball down to Dwayne Sutton.
See if Louisville can get the ball to Warren. Being guarded by Jack White. He's got to start putting some points on the board.
Remember, Carey's got 3 fouls, and Enoch will spin right around him.
Boy, beautiful pivoting in the post to get around to the other side of the bucket to avoid the shot block.
You want to see them go inside as much as they can because Carey's got 3?
Yeah, I mean, they just get the ball in the paint, but they also need to stop stop Duke from getting the ball into the painted area. Duke has dominated the paint in this second half.
And Cassius Stanley is pretty much unstoppable right now. Chris Mack wants a timeout. Well, Cassius Stanley can't get quite as high as this aerial shot, but it's pretty close.
It is very close, and Duke in the second half has been resolute to get the ball all the way to the rim. They've done it in transition. Chris Mack cannot be happy with his team's transition defense, and Cassius Stanley has just been magnificent at both ends of the floor all game long. 18 points, 8 rebounds thus far in the ball game. And he is riding a high. He's averaging 18 over his last 5 games now, including this one, and shooting an ungodly percentage from the field. He is emerging as an absolute star on this team.
And Duke's got as many paint points in the second half, 8, as they had the entire first half, and they're back within 4.
It's really time for Jordan Ward to step forward, get more aggressive on the offensive end.
He's being hounded by Jack White. White knocked it away. Wara got it back, and a foul on Matthew Hurt.
Did pick up a foul there, but I don't think Mike Krzyzewski is too upset with that, given that they are not really letting Louisville run any half-court offense. And really, in the first half, the difference in the ball game was Louisville's transition points, and also David Johnson making individual plays, really.
Well, there's Johnson, a freshman, did not start the game, did not start the second half, but 17 points, 4 assists, a couple of blocks, and a steal in the first half of the Cardinals.
Stephen Enoch needs to roll hard to the basket when he sets a screen. Another 3 by a Louisville big guy. Malik Williams hit one to end the first half. Now Stephen Enoch.
And Louisville has not missed a 3 in this game. They are 5 for 5 from beyond the arc.
But one thing they haven't done, they're not really getting to the free throw line very often.
White to Stanley. And Louisville ball. DeLaurier fortunate not to get called for a foul there. Wara behind the back in traffic, and the follow will go for Fresh Kimball.
Great play by Kimball to stick with it. I thought Wara got fouled going up for that, but how about going behind the back in transition between defenders to even get that shot up?
And all of a sudden the lead, which had been down before, is back up to 9 for the visitors.
And that was a good answer out of the timeout, because Louisville did not come out as tough in the second half as it did in the first.
Jones, tough contested shot, will go.
And what a difference in his offensive game. He really worked on that shot. Last year shot about 25-26% from 3. This year 36% from 3. And he has become much more of a reliable scorer.
Has increased his scoring by about 5.5 points per game. Johnson too strong. White the save, but he saves it to Kimball. Shot clock did reset. Now wait a minute. John Gaffney, the official, blows his whistle, and I think the discussion will be whether there had been a change of possession.
There was.
Sorted out.
That's a reset because Jack White had the ball to save it.
7-point lead Louisville. When we come back, an All-America candidate going 94 feet. with Mr. Jay Billis.
Bigger honor than National Player of the Year by far.
94 feet with Louisville's Jordan Wara, brought to you by Smile Direct Club. What was your first car?
My first car was a Ford C-Max, a little hybrid.
Now, can you and your teammates fit into it?
Yeah, we fit into it pretty good.
What do you binge watched lately?
Lately, I just finished Breaking Bad.
Your first concert?
First concert was Fort Castle, Louisville.
And who played Fort Castle?
The main people I saw were probably Playboy Cardi and Jack Harlow.
Your favorite toy as a kid?
My PlayStation 3.
And your favorite breakfast cereal?
Fruity Pebbles.
How about your first celebrity crush?
Scarlett Johansson.
Pretty good. Jordan Wara, the N is silent, but he's not. 94 feet.
Some solid answers there for a tremendous player. Look at the transformation of Jordan Wara from year to year. A huge leap forward last year in his sophomore season, and has his game continued to grow, Jay, in your mind, into his junior year?
There's no question. I mean, he is a great college player, but he has been held in check in this one. Cassius Stanley guarded him in the first half and wouldn't let him breathe, wouldn't let him get the ball. And in the second half, just turned the ball over on a little horn set.
Misses the three. I just hope if you were to do 94 feet with Wara in about 20 years, that the answer to your favorite cereal would still be Fruity Pebbles.
Isn't that great?
Then I could really respect it. That should be a lifelong thing.
What's your favorite cereal?
Fruity Pebbles. Okay. No, Lucky Charms. Lucky Charms. What about you?
Captain Trump.
Oh, I knew that answer. Now we'll send Dwayne Sutton to the line.
The last possession, Jordan Wara was able to get a 3 opportunity in transition. But because of the way the first half went, he hasn't established any rhythm at all. And that's because of, I think, the great defense played on him by Cassius Stanley in the first half. Basketball, I've said this before, basketball is about rhythm. It's about establishing yours and disrupting theirs. Jordan Wara hasn't been able to establish any rhythm in this ball game because Duke has disrupted his rhythm. And it's been just a great defensive job starting off by Cassius Stanley.
Be interesting now, Jack White has come out. Stanley is not in the game, so I would imagine we'll see Matthew Hurt potentially on Jordan Wara, and we'll see how that matchup goes.
Well, the other option is to put Jordan Goldwire on.
Get up under him.
Yeah, Goldwire is long, and athletics keep the ball away from him.
Jones into traffic. It stays with Duke. A couple of the players in the game right now for Duke, each with 3 fouls. Joey Baker, one of them, and more significantly, Vernon Carey Jr., who picked up his 3rd a minute into the second half.
Duke in a box set here on out-of-bounds under. Oftentimes they'll run 3 across, and they run a ton of their plays out of the same alignment, which makes it difficult for you to know what's coming.
Good position for Carey.
That's a throw in his chest. He fouled him with his chest again.
Enoch the foul.
I don't think it had anything to do with where his arms was. That was a chest foul. See, as the ball comes off, an immediate duck in. And right with Enoch having his chest. And you could say there was some offense-initiated contact, but the defense is going to take that foul 9 times out of 10.
And it's number 3 on Enoch. We heard Chris Mack say to Holly Rowe in the interview going off the court at halftime, both of our big guys got 2. Well, one of them just picked up his 3rd. Enoch sits. The good news, though, is it's a pretty good player coming in off the bench in Malik Williams.
That duck into the post by Vernon Carey, that's where you have to, as a defender, do your work early. Great contact to be able to get around in front. Otherwise, you get locked down. Offensive players in the post want contact. Defensive players can't allow the contact because they are going to get just locked into the post. Then he can't move.
Sutton guarded by Hurt, goes right at him and lays it in.
And that's exactly what Louisville needs to do. Find the matchup they can attack, and it was Matthew Hurt on Dwayne Sutton go after it.
We talked about it in the Clemson game this week. Hurt had Tevin Mack on him, and Mack made life very difficult for Hurt, whose minutes were really limited because of it. And we'll see if Louisville keeps attacking Hurt right now.
Trey Jones just attacked Fresh Kimball, who's just not quite as big.
You want to see Wara in the post since Goldwire's on?
He could certainly do that, but this is what they want to do. They're just trying to get the ball to Dwayne Sutton and let him attack Matthew Hurt. So it was less about getting the ball to Wara right now and going after the matchup they want, and that's Matthew Hurt. as long as Hurt stays on Sutton, I think Chris Mack's going to keep going to Sutton.
And Jay, because Carey had to come over and help, he picked up the foul. That is his fourth, a significant development, to say the least.
And that's where, even though you want to contest that shot, you have to be smart. You can get a bucket back, you cannot get a foul back. And the best defender in the world is the bench. Well, Duke going with a smaller lineup. They're going to have Jack White basically at the 5.
Williams, a guy who spends some time on the perimeter offensively.
I'm sure you'll see Cassius Stanley back on Jordan Wara. They can go a couple different ways with Stanley or Goldwire on it.
Hurt has come out of the game as well. Baker thought about it. Stumbles as he passes over to Jones. Wide open. Stanley. Goldwire to Carey. Baker. White lost it. Stanley fouled by Johnson.
That was a spectacular pass by Goldwire to Joey Baker for the wide open 3. You know, all of these rebounds and loose balls that Duke is getting in the second half, those were the balls that Louisville was getting in the first half. It's been like a complete reversal in that play.
Duke, which has struggled with free throws in recent games, as a team they're doing a better job tonight. 13 for 18, 15 for 19.
They're getting the right guys to the free throw line too. Cassius Stanley shoots about 70%, but with his athleticism, he should live at the free throw line.
He's now 9 for 10 from the line on the night.
There's this 1-2-2 three-quarter court pressure. Quick fake.
Wara for 3. 44% from beyond the arc on the season. But he continues to struggle to put points up here tonight.
It's a rhythm thing, I believe. He hasn't seen the ball go through the basket except before the game and at halftime. He is completely out of rhythm. Kentucky did this to him with the play of Emmanuel Quickly. They just took him totally out of the game.
Stanley the offensive rebound and another Louisville foul.
The long shots have led to long rebounds. That has made blockouts really difficult. Try laying a body on Cassius Stanley 15 feet from the basket. This shot was a long board, and Dwayne Sutton was right with Cassius Stanley to start, but he went toward the basket instead of maintaining contact with him.
Nice look ahead. Sutton, and Wara will get an easy one.
That was a terrific pass ahead. Duke in position to foul there, and that might have been the smarter play.
Stanley, by the way, Jay, 20 and 10 with better than 12 minutes left in the game.
He's been magnificent. I mean, he has been the star of this game.
Kimball with a block and comes up with a loose ball. Terrific defense by Fresh Kimball.
Now an advantage situation.
Johnson rejected by Baker. Goldwire back to Baker for 3. And the ball hit the shot clock, so that'll turn it back over to the Cardinals.
Boy, and that's how the game has changed. Instead of running to the rim, running to the three-point line. This has been every bit the Sonic blockbuster. Both teams throwing haymakers at one another, almost literally.
Tonight from Las Vegas, Conor McGregor's long-awaited return to the Octagon as he takes on Cowboy Cerrone. Who you got?
I got Cowboy Cerrone, mostly because I've been watching Yellowstone, and anything cowboy I'm going with.
It's fair. Faced it.
That's solid
right
theory.
That's
solid.
10 o'clock
USC
Eastern
knowledge.
time tonight on ESPN Plus pay-per-view.
You're on a roll with your predictions lately. What do you mean lately?
You know, I only said that because I knew you were going to respond that way. Thank you. Louisville with the ball and a 9-point lead. These two teams both 5-1 in the conference. Cardinals ranked 11th, Duke 3rd.
Cassius Stanley back on Jordan Wara. Wharton's got to start moving without the ball. He's just standing.
Matthew Hurt guarding Samuel Williamson, and Williamson got called for using the left arm to knock the defender away.
Yeah, they immediately went after Matthew Hurt again. but used that left arm to discard. Wasn't a ton of contact, but enough to draw the offensive foul.
If you're just joining us, Cassius Stanley's been sensational for Duke. David Johnson, the freshman for Louisville, and Vernon Carey Jr.'s on the bench with 4 fouls.
Johnson guarding Stanley right now. Those are two spectacular athletes on one another.
Jones left hand, too strong. Look out, and Williamson got casual with the ball, and a timeout called by Goldwire. Williamson had no idea that Goldwire was sneaking up behind him.
Well, Jordan Goldwire is second to Trey Jones in steals on this team. Got 29 steals coming in. You bring the ball down, that lets the little guys hang around.
9-point lead for the Cardinals, and when Louisville's been doing well offensively, Jay, a lot of it has been their defense creating transition opportunities.
Especially to start the game. Their transition opportunities were all off their defense, off Duke's 10 turnovers in the first 8 minutes. And in the second half, that's been a good deal of the offense as well. A couple opportunities in transition. That's the scoring Jordan Nwora had in that dunk that he had in this half. But it really got Louisville off to that great start. And there was the look ahead you were just talking about in the second half that got Jordan Nwora that bucket.
And here we are up in the Crow's Nest, a unique spot. Where's that camera? Oh, and there's a closer camera right there. They call that the snoop cam, so that they can snoop on us whenever we want. This is our perspective. We're right at about the 3-point line. There's the ball dome cam, Doug Holmes' favorite, because as you know, Doug has the hair of 1,000 men.
Beautiful out-of-bounds play run by Duke. A little pin in by Jack White to get Matthew Hurt wide open. He just pins in. It's almost like a fade screen, and Matthew Hurt, that couldn't have been any more in and come out.
Third on Jordan Nwora at the line, Jack White.
Louisville just not alert on that. You've either got to get over the top of that or switch it. And Matthew Hurt could not have been more open.
White with his first point of the game. Ryan McMahon will check in for Fresh Kimball. Still a ton of time left in this game. Duke was down 10 at halftime, got it down to 4 a few minutes ago. Louisville up by 7 right now.
Trey Jones with defense on the ball on Johnson, trying to get him to turn his back.
Another turnover. Jones ahead to Stanley.
Oh, what a great steal by Jack White.
Stanley with a block from behind, but Williamson with a reverse. Boy, that's a crazy, impressive 5 seconds for Cassius Stanley.
Louisville doing a good job of getting the ball up court quickly to attack. And try to play a little bit ahead of Duke's defense.
White fades to the corner, thinking about the 3. Still plenty of time on the shot clock for the Blue Devils. Jones, line drive short. How about Goldwire with the offensive rebound?
After Jack White knocked that ball away on a David Johnson pass, it's a terrific deflection. And this young man has springs. That's an extra step on the ladder that the rest of us humans don't have.
His teammates as excited about it as the fans are. Stanley with 22 on the night. Samuel Williamson just picked up his 4th. He's gone to the bench. Dwayne Sutton returns for the Cardinals. Tip no good. And Sutton, that's how you wrap up a rebound. That's what Williamson did do earlier when Goldwire took it away from him.
Duke finding its way to the free throw line. That's been a big difference in the game to keep Duke within striking distance.
Johnson driving on White. Left hand, no. Sutton, no. Long rebound to the Blue Devils. They got a chance to run.
Well, surprised that Sutton didn't drive that ball from the corner. Good pass.
Hurt. Lays it in. Good patience in the paint. Down to 5.
Louisville's got to show some poise against Duke's pressure to get the shot that they want. You can count on one hand in the second half that they've gotten the shot they want. Another tough one.
Yeah, very tough 3 there for Nwora, and Stanley again.
Well, Louisville needs a timeout here.
Blue Devils making another run, and Cassius Stanley continues to be the headliner.
Well, it has been Duke's defense that has gotten Stanley out in transition for those just spectacular finishes. Another pass ahead. David Johnson can't get a hand on it. And Stanley cradles that thing, then goes up with two hands to put it in. Now he almost hit his head on the rim. He can go out with style points now. He's so far ahead of the pack.
Molly Rose got more.
Well, guys, Cassius Stanley was actually a late addition to this Duke freshman class. When he was out in Los Angeles, where he's from, he had an opportunity to meet R.J. Barrett and Zion Williamson when they were out there for some awards. He really quizzed them about what their experience was like here at Duke. He signed late with them, and just imagine where Duke would be without this young man this year. He has been a bright spot. He is fearless out here tonight in this very hotly contested game.
24, a season high for the freshman. Missed a game with a leg injury a few weeks ago, had some foul trouble against Clemson, and with Carey on the bench in foul trouble, and with Trey Jones not having a big offense tonight, they need everything that Stanley's given them right now.
He's been spectacular all game long, both ends of the floor. Locked in, engaged, and making plays. And he's played extended minutes. I mean, one of Duke's great strengths this year has been its depth. They've been able to go 10 deep, but they haven't been able to do it of late because Wendell Moore is out with a broken metacarpal, I think it is. Metacarpal, metatarsal, some sort of meta. He's got some meta broken.
Duke's got it back within 3. That's got the building rocking again. Doesn't take much to get the camera to crazies going. This is your view from where the students are sitting. And this is our guy in the seats, Owen Henry, a sophomore from Holly Springs, North Carolina, a statistical science major, and helping us out doing a little fan cam work.
The question right now is, how is Louisville going to respond to Duke's pressure? Are they going to get the shot they want?
Enoch's back in, got a size advantage on Jack White.
Stanley back on Warren.
Does Enoch get a touch? Here it is. And he threw it away. Felt the double team, but Jones anticipated it. Hurt, knew he was going to get fouled. Will it be in the act of shooting? Yes, it will.
Going to get 3. This is starting to become an issue of poise. Because Stephen Enoch did not need. That's a 3. That's a 3. When he got fouled and went up, his right foot was behind that blue line.
So 3 free throws coming for Hurt. He's a 75% free throw shooter on the season.
Matthew Hurt needed this game. He'd been struggling the last couple of games.
The scoreboard here says that is the 5th foul on Sutton, but it is not. We believe it is the 4th foul on Dwayne Sutton. And after one more free throw, we'll find out if he's coming out of the game because David Johnson's getting ready to check back in.
Oh, I think you have to take him out. Yeah.
Here comes Johnson, and it is indeed for Sutton. So Sutton out with 4 right now. Carey still on the bench with 4 for Duke. And the Blue Devils on the verge potentially of tying this game for the first time since it was 5-5.
Sometimes when you're in Louisville's position, you've been nursing a lead for quite some time. Giving up that lead can kind of jolt you back into aggressiveness.
Wara still being covered by Stanley. And Jordan Wara, who averages 20, just 4 points tonight. Kimball, little stop and go, and Louisville back on top.
Boy, what a play by Fresh Kimball. Little ball screen and roll by Stephen Enoch. And then Jordan Wara was replacing up from the opposite side. And Kimball was able to just give a little juke move and get around Jack White. And he probably could have laid that ball off to Enoch if he needed to, because Cassius Stanley had to stay with Jordan Wara. He's such a good shooter. You got to stay with him.
And a grad transfer from St. Joe's. Did very well in the Kentucky game, has been starting ever since.
A little bit in his last 4 shooting league. 8 of 27 from the field coming into this one. He was a 3-time captain at St. Joe's. And St. Joe's has a rich basketball tradition. He's the first ever 3-time captain. Great job by David Johnson to stay in front.
Stanley blocked by Williams. And Williamson gives it up to Johnson. Wide open is Kimball.
Heck of a block out by Matthew Hurt on Malik Williams. He was right there to tip it in. And Hurt just blocked him away from it. What a move.
Jones, left hand, no.
Surprised there wasn't a foul there. A lot of body contact.
Wara, Hurt chasing, and Wara slams it home.
He better be strong going to the bucket.
Wara now with 6. And Louisville up by 5.
All Wara's baskets have come in transition. If he's not ahead of the crowd, he hasn't gotten anything in this one. Good fake. He didn't call that body contact foul. I mean, Malik Williams hit him.
It'll be Duke ball when we come back. Louisville's still leading, but Duke has made a run at them here in the second half. Oh, baby, it is getting loud and it is getting fun. Over to Cameron Indoor Stadium, and Cassius Stanley practically reaching the Raptors on some of his dunks tonight. But Jordan Wara and the Cardinals looking to hang on for a big road victory. A great event, a couple of big-time conferences stepping out of league play next weekend. And look at this triple header. Tennessee in Kansas, Kentucky down in Lubbock, and Baylor's in Gainesville. Game day will come to you from Allen Fieldhouse in Lawrence. What a triple header. And a Big 12 SEC channel.
That Florida-Baylor game, Florida's starting to play much, much better. That's a team that should be ranked in the top 10 based upon their personnel.
Florida blew out Auburn today. Back into the game with 4 fouls is Vernon Carey Jr. Didn't take him long to make an impact.
Vernon Carey did a terrific job of faking into the middle, then a drop step to the baseline side. And he did that against an excellent defender, Malik Williams. That was a big-time move when he came back into the ballgame.
David Johnson, by the way, has not scored in the second half after putting up 17 in the first half.
Duke's pressure on their half-court defense has been, for the most part, excellent in the second half.
Kimball with a floater, too strong. And Williams misses the follow. A break there for the Blue Devils.
A huge break because Vernon Carey did not want to foul there. And Malik Williams missed perhaps the easiest shot he'll get. Now watch this post play. So a little move into the middle, and then to the baseline side, just a drop step spin. That was just a beautiful post move by Vernon Carey.
Hasn't played all that much because of the foul trouble. Now with the double figures. Carey again, immediate double team.
Screen from Cassius Stanley to get him in the low post.
Jones buries a 3, and it's tied again.
What a difference a year and a ton of work on your shot makes for Trey Jones. He has really worked on that shot, and it's evident the difference between last year and this.
And Carey and Jones stepping up large for the Blue Devils here in the second half. Open is Kimball. And he knocks down a 3.
A step back going against Matthew Hurt, who's 6'9". Just backed him up, took that step back, and was able to get it off before Hurt could recover with those long arms. High-low look.
Carey over the double team. Rebound Wara.
Well, there was a lot of contact on that, but a good job to come over from the help side. Vernon Carey does not stop posting up.
He's guarding Wara out on the perimeter right now. Wara's going to go by him, and it won't stay down.
He's 2 layups. First Malik Williams and Jordan Wara.
Jones for the lead. Carey with a one-handed rebound and putback.
What a reversal. An easy 2 for Louisville. They miss, and then Duke scores on the other end.
So Duke down by 1. They tied it a couple of times here in the second half. They haven't led since it was 5-2. Goldwire doing a good job on Johnson.
Cassius Stanley still on Jordan Moore.
Williamson getting some crunch time minutes for Louisville and a foul on Hurt.
Louisville will not get two easier shots all year. First it was Malik Williams, and then Jordan Moore. It looked like he hit that little rim first and it bounced out. And then Samuel Williamson has very little shot of blocking out Vernon Carey here. And even with 4 fouls, Carey goes hard to the offensive glass. Out of bounds underneath now for Louisville. They're going 4 across the baseline. A lot of times they'll just pop a player out to the elbow, Jordan Moore, and then go from there, get a screen. There it is.
And Chris Max brought Ryan McMahon back into the game. He doesn't have a point yet. He does now.
Well, he just popped out after the switch. He just popped out at Vernon Carey on him. Carey couldn't get out there. Beautiful play out of bounds under by Louisville.
And what a timely substitution for Chris Mack. Stanley with 24. Oh, and Hurt wasn't looking, and the pass sails out of bounds.
Jordan Moore pops out and gets a screen. And then after the switch, a terrific job of just backing out to the three-point line by Ryan McMahon. And he had time to set his feet. Vernon Carey not often is guarding a small guy that does that.
Oh, Johnson with a two-handed slam for his first points of the second half.
Cassius Stanley's not the only one that plays above the rim. What a revelation David Johnson has been. I mean, you knew he was really good, had a ton of potential. But he's a star.
Carey in the paint. Ooh, Johnson reached in, called for the foul.
This is a big-time finish by David Johnson. Dribbling in with the left hand. Goes up off 2 feet. He's got length. He's got athleticism. That's big-time bounce. Man.
6'5", 210, play in the point. Teammates are loving it.
If I had hair like that, I'd be rubbing it all day, too.
One of our big Monday matchups, the Big 12 game at 9 o'clock Eastern time, takes you to Waco, Oklahoma, taking on Baylor, 9 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN and the ESPN app. The Bears have beaten the Sooners the last 3 times they've met. The early game, 7 o'clock Eastern, ACC Big Monday game. It'll be the Wolfpack of NC State in Charlottesville, taking on the defending national champion Virginia Cavaliers. You'll be there with Mr. McDonough, right?
Yes. I just saw Oklahoma play on Tuesday, and it was amazing. They played Kansas, and Udoka Azubuike wound up guarding Christian Doolittle. And what an amazing transformation he's had, going from like 275, 280 down to 255. He was guarding Doolittle out on the perimeter, inside. Just a terrific job by Udoka Azubuike.
4 minutes to go. Louisville with a 6-point lead.
The horn set.
Baker trying to stay with Kimball. Defended by Delorier, but Delorier out of bounds when he had the ball. So it'll be Cardinal ball when we come back with 3:49 to go. Louisville has weathered a couple of storms. Duke has tied the game a couple of times, but each time the Cardinals have had a response, most recently from the sharpshooter, Ryan McMahon. Louisville and Duke in a good one. The Cardinals up by 6. The prelims of UFC 246 are underway on ESPN News. Don't forget, McGregor, Cowboy later tonight on ESPN Plus, and then SportsCenter. After Top Rank Boxing with Penny Main and Zubin Mehenti wrapping up a huge day in sports. With some college basketball reaction, Lakers and Rockets tonight, UFC 246, previewing tomorrow's games between the Titans and the Chiefs, and the 49ers and the Green Bay Packers on the eve of the conference title games.
Louisville turns the ball over on out of bounds underneath. They tried to get a little bit cute, I think, in trying to loop Jordan Moore around. They ran the same alignment as they did when Ryan McMahon got that 3. but just a really bad pass trying to get the ball into Malik Williams, and it's going to turn into perhaps a three-point play from Duke. Just a terrific job by Trey Jones to get it down floor quickly, but just poor execution by Louisville and out of bounds under. You know, you want to get a layup, not give up one, and that's what happened.
For Trey Jones, who didn't score in the first half, now has 12 in the second half.
Well, that was a huge play for Duke to get that turnover and capitalize on the other end.
Johnson driving again. Kicks it, stolen by Goldwire. Scores over Sutton, who's playing with 4 fouls, and it's down to 1. And we have an injured Cardinal player at the other end of the court. It's David Johnson.
What a turnaround. 2 steals, 2 layups on the other end. A 5-point swing. Looked like he was holding the back of his left leg.
Left arm is hanging limply as well. And boy, you just hate to see it. A guy who had shoulder surgery in the summer has come back. You can see him grabbing his left wrist there on the replay. You just hate to see that.
Boy, he has played so well. Oh, and he's grabbing his shoulder now. Who knows what it is, but
such a talented player who has had such a huge impact on this game and a couple of other recent games for Louisville, and you can see the anguish that he is feeling right now on the bench. You just hope it's not serious.
God, you hate to see that. Such a great player.
Sutton off balance, and he drew the foul before the shot.
Louisville has got to get some movement. He's Fred Hina, the trainer for Louisville, spent years with the New York Mets and Major League Baseball. Is going to take him back underneath. And remember, he had that shoulder that kept him out those 4 months.
1-1 for Sutton. Wow, what a bounce.
And Louisville has been driving in the last several possessions. They haven't moved the defense first. And there's got to be more movement. Now, Duke's pressure has been a big factor in that.
And the lead back to 3. Perry not in the game right now for Duke. He's got 4. DeLaurier is in.
DeLaurier can set screens and roll hard to the basket. Good offensive rebounder as well.
Stanley's been the go-to guy at this end of the floor for the Blue Devils.
There's another ball screen, hard roll.
Stanley drives, left hand, no. .240 to go. Louisville with the ball and the lead here in Durham.
Zach White right now guarding Jordan Wara. And Wara's got to be active getting the ball. He went out to set a ball screen.
Wara still with just 6 on the night.
At the switch, now White on Kimball.
Step back jumper.
What a rebound by Samuel Williamson.
Big play for the freshman. And another possession now for the Cardinals.
Jordan Wara's got Trey Jones on. Let's see if he goes down into the post. They can isolate him.
Staying out on the perimeter right now as the shot clock winds down. Not a factor in the play. Malik Williams misses the 3. Ball to Duke.
Well, Stanley just tapped it to himself. There were 2 Cardinals there, but he tapped it and was able to come away with possession.
Mike Krzyzewski will call a timeout with 1:54 to go.
Jordan Wara is just not active enough on the offensive end. He's got to move without the ball, be more of a threat. Frustrating game for Wara, but he's been frustrated by some excellent defenders.
David Johnson at least back out of the locker room with his teammates right now, out with an injury on what has been the best night for him in his Louisville season and career.
He has been absolutely spectacular, making plays on both ends of the court. Off that horn set, just cutting off Jordan Wara and getting the ball, catch and shoot. His defense has been excellent. Great passing. He's got a next level vision as a freshman. And then after hitting the deck here, We're not sure exactly what it was. It looked like a shoulder, but he's holding his arm and just not sure what it is. You certainly hope it's not that shoulder.
Let's go down to Holly, who may have some info.
Well, guys, you might remember Chris Mack told us at the half that it was a torn labrum that he was out with. He had that shoulder surgery. That is his surgically repaired shoulder. You can see the scars on the back of it. He was complaining of pain on that left shoulder, so they're trying to make sure nothing happened there. He's just barely come back from that, so they are very concerned.
On the bench right now as Louisville tries to hang on the road here at Cameron.
Spreading the floor, going with a high ball screen. Basically playing 5 out.
And Williams down with the rebound after the miss by Jones.
Disciplined defensive play by Malik Williams. Got switched off on Trey Jones. Went up straight and was able to get the ball out of the air instead of bringing his arm down while Trey Jones still had the ball in his hands.
And Vernon Carey Jr., Jay, remains on the bench right now here in the last couple of minutes.
Well, he'd be attacked.
Sutton, no. Long rebound to Jones.
Sutton settled there.
Hurt. White, good closeout there by Williams.
And Matthew Hurts got fresh Kimball on his posting.
That's it at the elbow. Shot clock at 10. Jones. Loose ball down to the Cardinals. Juarez got it. We've got 48 seconds left. Louisville up by 3. Juarez surrounded, and a timeout is called.
Really difficult shot by Trey Jones. Right now for Louisville, it's about getting the ball inbounds and getting a good shot or getting fouled. Remember, the last few possessions where they had out of bounds underneath, they threw the ball away, and that led to a three-point play on the other end for Duke. And then followed that up with another turnover, but they've been able to at least maintain this one possession lead.
Last win against a top 3 ranked team on the road for the Cardinals came 10 seasons ago. They're trying to beat Duke here at Cameron, up by 3, 43.5 seconds to go. Doing it without an injured David Johnson and with Jordan Nwora having a subpar game.
24 seconds left on the shot clock. Duke is going to go after the ball. They're going to go after a steal.
That was Louisville's last time out.
Really didn't have a choice. I mean, Jordan Nwora was about to get tied up.
Into Williamson, the freshman, guarded by Goldwire. They want to get it to the hands of Kimball, and they do. And again, Nwora on the perimeter, Stanley guarding him.
Hurt is on Sutton.
Kimball's in trouble. White takes it away.
Poor possession by Louisville.
Stanley, this would tie. Well short.
Didn't need it. You could have taken that all the way to the rim, get the bucket.
And now forced to give a foul. It'll become a free throw shooting contest right now for the Cardinals.
Surprised on that last Louisville possession that they didn't go to Dwayne Sutton. He had the best matchup. Malik Williams, who is a good shooter. He's only a 63% free throw shooter, but he's got a very good shooting touch. And he made that 3 to end the first half.
1 for 2 tonight. This is 1 and 1. The 8th team foul committed by Duke.
And this is to make it a 2-possession game. And that is quite a response to step up in this environment and knock that free throw down.
Two big free throws for the junior.
Even though it's 5, Duke does not need a 3. Take it to the rim.
Jones turned it over. Ahead of the pack is Williams. And Louisville's going to win it here at Cameron.
What an answer by Louisville. Duke came out hard defensively in the second half, took the lead, and Louisville answered it. Just a tremendous job by the Cardinals, and what a great play by Malik Williams to knock those free throws down and come back and seal this thing with a two-handed dunk.
Boy, there's their jubilation on the bench to our far right now for the Cardinals, who are going to move this 6-1 in league play. Duke will lose its second game in a row and fall a game behind both the Cardinals and the Florida State Seminoles, who won at Miami in overtime earlier today.
And also losing a home game, there's how difficult it is to win on the road. That puts even more pressure on you to protect your home court.
Boy, and how good does this have to feel for Chris Mack and for the Cardinals, who were a part of that game last year up in Louisville when Duke came back from 23 down with 9:55 to go to win it.
This is just a big program win for Chris Mack and Louisville. I mean, there have been some questions of late about just how good Louisville is this year. I mean, they got pummeled against Florida State. They lost in Rupp Arena to Kentucky. They lost to Texas Tech in the Garden. But they answered big time in this one on the road at Cameron Indoor Stadium.
Baker with a three in the final second. But it'll be the Louisville Cardinals going out of here happy. A significant road win for the Cardinals here at Cameron. They beat Duke 79-73. It's 6 losses this week by top 5 ranked teams. 2 by Duke, 2 by Auburn, 2 by Butler. The first time in 26 seasons that there have been 6 losses by top 5 ranked teams in a single week. Welcome to college basketball here in 2019-20, where nothing can be taken for granted.
Yeah, this roller coaster isn't going to stop, but a tremendous performance when Jordan Wara didn't have his best and was essentially taken out of the game from a scoring perspective. David Johnson stepped forward. You just hope he's going to be healthy going forward, worried about him and the shoulder.
Cassius Stanley led the way for Duke with 24, but a great team effort by the Cardinals. It's going to be a happy flight back to Louisville after they beat Duke here at Cameron here tonight. Time now, UFC action to Las Vegas.